All right, folks, we are live. Invite your friends, invite your foes. There we go. An invite there. Just sending out my invites, guys. Say hello when you get into the room. Say hello. Feel free to ask me anything. We are live, just a casual stream here today. We have 2 shows on call in this afternoon, evening. Sup, Conrad? What's on your mind? Political questions, philosophical questions, personal questions. I want to share this here. Do you want to get more involved in Pangburn? Join us on Discord. That's probably the best way to get to know me. And we'll go from there. Do you want to be a broadcaster on our live shows? Let's chat about it. We have, of course, are live every day on the new call-in app. You guys will see links for it all over this YouTube channel. Who are some guests you would like me to bring on as podcast guests? Feel free to ask anything. I'm going to be doing some editing for my first book while I'm live streaming today. Where was I going to? So I'm going to share this here. Oh, well, that's not good. Sharing these links. I'm likely going to be live for quite some time, so settle in, drop a like, say hello, drop a question, whatever you want, or just chill out. We'll see if the YouTube algorithm is kind to me today. Conrad says, I'm packing from a trip to Scotland, so how about a bit of politics? Should states split into countries in the UK and US? I guess I would ask, what is the fundamental reason why someone would want to do this? Is it for ideological purposes? I mean, I don't have any dogma telling me that, you can't do this. I mean, should they? I mean, in the end, we're all just trying to serve our, purposes born of our sentiments. So if this better serves people's purposes, then sure. But I would caution people to take into consideration all of the potential downfalls and, the pros and cons of doing such a thing. I don't really care one way or another. The metric I'm going to use to determine whether this is a good thing to do or not is going to be, well-being, which is my moral metric. So if it maximizes well-being for myself and those around me, in this case, it would be those in this state, then I would say, sure. But, much more information is required in order to make this kind of decision, I think. I'm just going to minimize this window up there. Okay, that's better. Yeah, if you're dropping in, feel free to drop a like, say hello. I'm just chilling today, doing some editing for my first book. My first book's going to outline my maxims, and I'm going to talk about them and why I think they're important, which will include my moral maxim. But I won't release exactly all the topics because I want it to be a bit of a surprise. Did that post? I assume so. Yeah. In the UK, Scotland, and Wales wants independence and hate the monarchy. Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to state issues, issues such as large as that, we should look at what people generally want. And if the people, if there is let's say a majority that wants this to happen, what are the options given to the minority who wouldn't get their way? Is there an option for them to, are we giving them easy access to leave the state, or are they just going to feel like they've been tyrannized? Like what's going to be the impact on their well-being if this does happen? That would be my question. And what do you think, Conrad? Do you want to see this happen? Down, 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 down. Okay. You think they deserve their independence, but there's no way they can survive on their own. Well, I mean, when you say there's no way they can survive on their own, I'm sure there is a way that they can. So I wouldn't be too quick to adopt that belief. How about we go deeper then? What's your God? Not who, what? I don't think I have a God. What do you mean by God, Conrad? I mean, my moral metric perhaps is what one would call my God. I use well-being, which is the same thing we use in medicine. It's this negotiation between the functionality of the physical objects that are part of your body and the wellness of mind, how you feel. So negotiation between those two things is what my well-being metric takes into consideration. And that's how I measure good from bad, right from wrong. So one might say that well-being is my God. Your end goal. What governs your life? What do you strive for? Yeah, so I outline that in my first book as my moral quest, which is to maximize well-being for myself and those around me. That very much satisfies my sentiments, at least for now. And of course, my first maxim always allows for this to change. My first maxim being certainty is almost certainly unattainable. This just is a dogma elimination maxim. So well-being very well might not be my moral metric in the future. And I'm always open to change any idea that I have in my mind. Perhaps one day I'll be a God-believing Christian. I think my pleasure drive will determine that. So my moral quest is to maximize well-being for myself and those around me actively. It's a quest. It's my underlying goal in life, my fundamental goal. So yes, it is an activity. And I think it's important for us to have a moral quest in mind when we go out into the world, one that speaks to our fundamental moral sentiments. I think people need to remind themselves more and clarify what that actually is so that we can have some clarity and be sure that we are acting morally in the world based on our own standards. And I do think that moral standards are byproducts of man's sentiments and perhaps other creatures as well. I don't think we know enough yet how these things like ethics are experienced through the lens of, say, a bonobo, chimp, dolphin. But there seems to be some structures of morality, ideas of fairness, fairness as a metric. There's some really interesting things in the animal kingdom outside our own animal selves. Is my audio low? Let me turn it up here. Let me crank it up. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Is that better? Check 1 2. That should probably even be better. Yeah, and we can actually talk about my maxims today. That might be fun. Hey, it's Dimitri. How are things in the Ukraine, my friend? I think about you a lot. Let's you know what? I'll post my maxims for you guys here. Let's see. Where do I have them? I just sent them to. I don't know how long of a. Okay, well that was much too long. And I guess what I'll do is this is going to be way too long. Oh yeah, I'll just post my maxims one by one. No way. My one here, I'm going to do some fixing here so that I can fit it all in one comment. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Feel free to drop a like. This is a very casual stream today. Feel free to ask any questions. And so there's my first maxim. Now I'll read it out to you guys. I did a video on this channel outlining it, but this is a complete departure, a Moses-like exodus from dogmatism, any dogma. So let my first maxim eliminate dogma. Certainty is almost certainly unattainable. This is the departure from dogma, with all knowledge and beliefs being controvertible. And I actually can edit this. I'm going to actually repost this because I included some of my second maxim there. Let's repost. Replace pinned message. There we go. So yeah, let's feel free to ask me any questions about the first maxim. The first maxim is sitting um, in the pinned comment here. Now, the contemporary, I'll give you guys the contemporary definition of what a maxim is. So if you Google it, Oxford Language Dictionary is going to, English Dictionary is going to say, a short, pithy statement expressing a general truth or rule of conduct. So maxims will be things I find valuable, essentially. Perhaps one could say they're similar to virtues. So yes, I encourage everyone to adopt this maxim and start with it. It's essentially saying, I could be wrong about anything, including the logical absolutes and whatever has been born of my ape sentiments or any other ape sentiments. Perhaps there is something we don't know about that is a blind spot in our ape minds that doesn't allow us to see the flaws in the law of identity or the law of non-contradiction. And maybe an alien race that's been evolving for trillions of years outside of this closed universe that we find ourselves trapped in, seemingly trapped in. And maybe they would come down and show us how our ape logic is flawed, even the logical absolutes. So this just allows you to say goodbye to any dogmatism. Dogmatism and dogma meaning things that you would hold as incontrovertibly true, things that you think are impossible to refute. You don't need to carry such things with you. For me, it just takes away from the level of openness and peacefulness you can achieve with regards to your ideas by saying, I have already admitted that everything I have, everything I believe or everything I may claim to know can be, converted. Conrad says, I don't agree. The only thing which can invalidate the laws of logic is if this simulation theory is true. Conrad, you must understand that, you and I are very intelligent apes. And I say very intelligent based on the level of intelligence we see that has emerged on this particular planet. To be incontrovertibly certain about anything that we think of is as foolish as an orangutan being incontrovertibly certain that their banana leaf hat it's impossible that there is a better hat to keep their head out of the rain. I think it's foolish to engage in dogmatism. And what you're talking about is, and when you say the only thing which can invalidate the laws of logic is, first of all, I would be careful to make such claim. And second of all, you actually agree with me. You say I don't agree, and then you say the only thing. That means it's controvertible. So you actually agree with the maxim, unless you have other examples. Feel free to drop a like, folks. Hopefully we can build a bit of a room today. We got Mace Starwalk in 3 hours on call-in, and I'm going to drop you guys that link right now. He's going to be, his topic is universal basic income is immoral. So if you want to challenge Mace on that, please join us. UBI is immoral. Convince me otherwise at 3:30 p.m. Pacific. Yeah, so we hope you call in to that. I will pin this. Maybe I should pin this, yeah. That's today's first show. And then later on, we're going to have Thomas Torture Time, where we're going to be diving into belief, I think, again. What is belief? And we're going to get into the finer aspects of things related to your epistemology. I think Thomas said he... oh, by the way, there was an amazing discussion we had about abortion last night, if you want to take a look at that. Oh, theories of justification we're going to be talking about today at 6 p.m. Pacific time with Thomas of Alabama, who's brilliant. Conrad Kopeck says, I didn't agree that many things can invalidate laws of logic. Sure. You don't have to make that positive claim. I would just say it's possible that there are many things that can invalidate laws of logic. As soon as we try to limit the realm of possibility, we adopt what I'm almost certain is a inconceivable burden of proof. So I think it's wise for us to be careful not to attempt to refute this realm of possibility as though we can compute and think of, all the variables involved. I think we can think of a pin drop in an ocean about what's possible, And of course, it's possible that I'm wrong about that. It's possible that we can actually access the entire realm of possibility within our cognition. But these are good questions, Conrad. You guys feel free to drop your questions. They can be about any topic. Can be about sex, drugs, rock and roll. Can be about philosophy. Can be about my career as a philosopher. It can be about my books that I'm writing. It can be about any topic of philosophy that you're interested in. Or science, life, whatever you want. If I click away from the screen for a moment, I'm just doing a little bit of editing. Please drop a like. We got 10 of you in the room right now. Let's try to build a room. Again, we are going to be live on Call-In, the new social podcasting app, at 3:30 p.m. Pacific. That's 3 hours from now, with Mr. Walk coming at us live from the United Kingdom. And he's going to be telling us, making the claim that universal basic income is immoral. That's the position he's going to be defending today. So I hope you guys call in. I have the episode link pinned. If you haven't jumped into our group discussions, all you need is a phone and internet access. And if you don't have a phone, if you only have a computer, you can download BlueStacks or things that are going to allow you, anything that will allow you to run a telephone or a cell phone app on your computer. You can get into the game. And we're going to start doing book giveaways and all kinds of fun stuff that's going to be happening. Audiobooks, of course, to make it easy for people to get access to awesome books and information. So how about maybe I'll post my second maxim, since we started talking about it a little bit here. And here is my second maxim. I'll read it out to you guys. Now I'm going to have to shrink this somehow. So I start off by saying, let my second maxim make me good, but I'm going to delete that from it. So maxim number 2, let my second maxim make me good. Maximize well-being for myself and those around me. Improving the functionality of the body and mind will allow subjects to live long and healthily while serving their purposes. So you can still serve your Christian purposes, your whatever purposes you wish to serve, and you can still adopt well-being as a moral maxim. And I think there is something very much linked between my maxim and what most religions and worldviews have been trying to do for well, since the dawn of man, in trying to maximize and improve the functionality of our biological selves and in our minds, if you separate those two concepts in how you view reality. Yeah, so improving the functionality of the body and mind will allow. Now, functionality is an important word. Functionality. Let's look up what functionality means. Functionality. Why would I use functionality? Okay, well, functionality says the quality of being suited to serve a purpose well, practically. So it's about giving you your best chance to serve your purposes. So being having wellness of mind and the things that a doctor is trying to help you achieve, right? Your family doctor. So that's all well-being as a moral metric is referencing. So I would say fundamentally at the basis of everything you do, get yourself well and get those around you well, because my moral quest is to maximize well-being for myself and those around me. Get everything well to start. And then that will allow you to serve your purposes, hopefully uninterrupted by unhealthiness or any other kind of detriment or death. And the well-being moral metric is born out of these two fundamental presuppositions that I hold about life. So I presuppose that life is preferential to death. And, many, I think almost all people of sound mind would agree with me that life is preferential to death. And we can go one step farther. It doesn't simply just have to be live or die. It can actually be health is also preferential to sickness. So most people want to live and also live healthily. So I from those two fundamental, you can call them axioms, you can call them presuppositions, whatever you want to call those. I look at that and then I start thinking about how am I best going to achieve living instead of dying and being healthy instead of sick. Well, then I look to medical science, of course, because that's kind of what it's doing, right? Trying to keep us alive longer, and it's trying to keep us generally as healthy as we can be. And it's doing this by better understanding the objects in reality that relate to our well-being. So I'm simply trying to satisfy those two fundamental presuppositions that I think most people of sound mind would agree to. Even those who are not so convinced, they're kind of agnostic to the axiom that life is preferential to death or that health is preferential to sickness. Perhaps they're kind of agnostic. They don't know that. And currently, perhaps they believe it because they're still alive and they're still healthy. But, even those people, I think, are best suited to adopt well-being, because it's, whatever their purposes may be. Maybe their purpose is going to be to commit suicide and to end their life. But let that decision be made from a position of wellness, from a position of clear-headedness, understanding the finality of such a decision, or the seeming finality. Of course, there's going to be beliefs of afterlife and things like this, but as long as the subject understands, then I think and they are of sound mind, they should be able to make such decisions. Just give me 2 seconds here. Okay. Hey, Dimitri, I'm not sure exactly what you're saying there. Sorry. UBI has potential to destroy any society. Um, Interesting. I hope you call in, Dimitri. That will be in about 3 hours from now. May Starwalk will be live. Yeah, so that's to better understand what I think makes someone good. I'm probably going to actually rename this stream. I didn't intend on doing this, but the Pangburnian Maxims. There we go. All right. Let's look at. Oh, Conrad, yeah, let me see. If one agrees upon some axioms which one would have to, in order to be certain about anything, no, so the my maxim eliminates the problem I think you're alluding to. So certainty, you got to read the maxim clearly. Certainty is almost certainly unattainable. There's nothing certain or dogmatic about the maxim. So it's only something that one can be almost certain about. So basically, with regards to and again, it's important. I outlined that this is a departure from dogmatism. Dogmatism being this belief, like kind of like a Christian who would say, it is impossible that Yahweh is not God. They would say that that's impossible for that to be the case. So it's incontrovertibly true that Yahweh is God. So that's this kind of commitment to beliefs and knowledge. This maxim is an absolute departure from such commitments. I'm gonna, sorry, 2 seconds here. All right, then we get to my third maxim. No, Conrad, it's not, because it's in the maxim. It says it's only almost certainly the case. If something's only almost certainly the case, it's not dogmatism. So take a look at what dogmatism is. Okay, now we get to my third maxim. I'm going to have to post it in 2 posts here because there we go. Okay, if you live by it, the maxim becomes dogma. No, that's not what dogmatism is. So let me. A principle or set of principles laid down by an authority is incontrovertibly true. That's what dogma is. What I am saying is a departure from anything being incontrovertibly true. Anything can be overturned with regards to what you believe is true. So that's what dogmatism is: a principle or set of principles laid down by an authority as incontrovertibly true. That's how my maxim is different. So number 3, let my third maxim set the standard for communication. Good faith and helpfulness are the minimum requirements for a fruitful dialectic. Being honest with your intentions and bringing your interlocutor ease of access. Okay, Conrad said, if you live by, okay, we already addressed that. You said you are the authority for your maxim. Again, yes, I am. I'm the one who created it. I'm the author of the maxim. But the thing that would make something dogmatic is for it to be incontrovertibly true. My maxim is controvertible, so it's not dogma. That's the key. Hey, Jas. So we'll get back to the third maxim. We got some other questions here. Welcome, Jas. It's been a long time. Yo. Anurag Yadav says, what are your thoughts on reincarnation? There are papers about reincarnation in certain scientific journals. Yeah, reincarnation has not been demonstrated to be like based on my correspondence criteria of truth. That's my epistemological standard of truth. Correspondence relies on things like the scientific method to demonstrate claims and see if they correspond to the objects in reality that the claims are referencing. So based on that epistemological standard, there's, reincarnation seems to just be a myth, no different than any other religious scripture with regards to its truth value from a correspondence criteria of truth perspective. Now, if you have a different criteria of truth in your epistemology, perhaps you'll say, perhaps someone is like a pure sentimentalist, and if it feels strong enough, or maybe they're like they allow for conspiratorial line drawing or these other methods people use to claim to know things. Coherence criteria of truth. If you Google criteria of truth and look at the Wikipedia page for it, that will give you a basic rundown of the different criteria of truth that people use to inform their epistemology. So Conrad says, would you agree that it is true that nothing is certain, therefore the maxim becomes certainty? No, that's not the claim. I don't claim that nothing is certain. I don't make that positive claim. I say that certainty is almost certainly unattainable. So Deep 3 says, I'm certain that nothing is certain. So I would be careful with that, right? Because it's possible that there's certainty out there to be had. We might find the bottom of, the fundamental stuff. Yeah, John asks a great question. How would you know? Exactly. So then you have to reference your epistemological standard of truth, your general epistemology, and it's almost, John Boy says it's almost certainly true that certainty is unattainable. Yeah. Conrad Kopeck says, hold on, your maxim is logically circular. No, it simply says that. So if I want to put it in the most colloquial terms that I can, it simply says anything I believe or know is possibly incorrect. That's all it's saying, which is not circular. It's a claim, but it's not circular. Deep 3 says, I don't know that I'm certain, ? Well, if you do claim to know that, I'd be interested to examine your standards of epistemology. Are you a correspondence criteria of truth carrier like I am, where I rely on things like the scientific method and I look at how the claims correspond to the objects in reference? That's what correspondence criteria of truth is. So we have to first look deep as to what your criteria of truth is. Anurag says, what is your perspective on Sam Harris' consideration for possible existence of spiritual things? Yeah, of course it's possible. My maxim that I started with, Anurag, I don't know if you were here, my first maxim is that certainty is almost certainly unattainable. So I would never be certain that there are no gods, or that there are no ghosts or goblins or fairies. I would never be certain of such things. Now, for some things, I will claim that I am almost certain. That's the furthest I go. So when I have very strong convictions towards something like gods, for example, I am almost certain that gods are man-made, born of human authors who claimed in some cases or were claimed to be divinely inspired. And then in other cases, there wasn't such claims. But, I'm, yeah. So Conrad, let's see if you can demonstrate how it's circular. I'm interested. Because well, first, do you agree that claiming that, it's possible that everything in my mind everything I believe or know is incorrect? Do you think that is circular? I'm sure you wouldn't say that's circular, because I would then question your understanding of logic altogether. So yeah, if you can write out why you think it's circular as clear as you possibly can, that would be great. So yeah, and then we went through my second maxim is that outlines well-being as my moral metric. And then we get to my third maxim. Let my third maxim set the standard for communication. Good faith and helpfulness are the minimum requirements for a fruitful dialectic. And then I explain what good faith and helpfulness is. Being honest with your intentions and bringing your interlocutor ease of access. So, have you ever had conversations where you're not quite sure if the person is honest or not? Or they seem to be, for some reason, really making things difficult. I find that I don't get fruitfulness out of such discussions. They don't bear fruit that I can take with me, from that discussion. So I say, let my third maxim set the standard for communication. Good faith and helpfulness are the minimum requirements for a fruitful dialectic. Being honest with your intentions and bringing your interlocutor ease of access. So if I bring that to the table, I expect that as a minimum, at a minimum, from my interlocutor. Conrad says, I'd love to, but I can't keep typing. I can write you a longer message on Discord. Okay, cool. I'm working right now. Fair enough. Yeah, so keep in mind, Conrad, as you do write this out, that what the maxim is stating in kind of the most colloquial way I can put it is that everything I believe or everything I claim to know is possibly not the case. It's possibly untrue, the things I think are true. That's what the maxim's saying. So yeah, feel free, anyone who stops by, to wrestle with any of these maxims. This is an impromptu live stream. It's also kind of a test to see how generous YouTube will be with its algorithm to a Pangburn stream, which typically it's not very generous. All right, and now we have the fourth maxim here. Let my fourth maxim afford me ultimate ideological patience. So number 4, patience for ideas perceived as stupid must be ultimate. Now, it's important. We are talking about ideas here. This is a maxim regarding ideas. So let my fourth maxim again afford me ultimate ideological patience. So patience for ideas perceived as stupid must be ultimate. And I mean ultimate. And then here's a further explanation. Have the capacity to tolerate the existence of ideas that show a lack of good sense or judgment without getting angry or upset. So that's the entire maxim right there. I'll read it all uninterrupted together. I got to put on my Moses voice. Let my fourth maxim afford me ultimate ideological patience. Patience for ideas perceived as stupid must be ultimate. For example, if someone comes in and says a really stupid idea, that an idea that you're just automatically, you're like, well, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. You got to have ultimate patience for this, because the next idea you present might be perceived that way as well. So how are we going to allow a dialectic to continue if we do not have patience for the stupid ideas that each of us think we have? Patience for ideas perceived as stupid must be ultimate. Have the capacity to tolerate the existence of ideas that show a lack of good sense or judgment without getting angry or upset. So there is my fourth maxim. And okay, Conrad says again, really quick one. Do you then agree that you have to be certain about your beliefs in order to be almost certain of something through believe? Or maybe that's you. Really quick. Do you then agree that you have to be certain? No, never. You don't have to be certain about anything. About your beliefs? No. In order to be almost certain of something? No. You're saying you would need certainty that the idea is stupid in order to consider it stupid at all. No, you don't. It can be currently a belief that you hold that this idea that this person is presenting is stupid. Yeah, Conrad's not getting it. See, now this is very interesting, Conrad, because a departure from dogmatism freaks people out who hold on to particular dogmas. And why do we hold on to dogmas? I think it's comforting to some people's sentiments to feel as though you have finished a project ideologically, or through a belief, or through your epistemology. Like, you're finished. That thing is dealt with. There's nothing that can change that. People have this kind of addiction to dogmatism. And, some of this, well, I think some of this is born out of kind of like religiosity and the way people approach ideas, where they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to put my faith that this is the be all to end all, and nothing can come and change that. Like, that's, people do this in relationships too. I mean, they get so dogmatic, they carry these dogmatic beliefs with them through their relationship. It is 100% the case that I will always be with my partner, or I will always love my partner, or I will always love my children, or whatever it is. But such a dogmatism is not necessary in order to bear the fruit of what these beliefs, of how these beliefs might serve your purposes. Conrad says, you say idea is stupid forever, therefore it is certainly stupid. No. Who says the idea is stupid forever? That's like, no one said that. If someone claims that idea is stupid forever, I would suggest that they don't take on such a burden of proof. John Boy says the awareness of how little we do or can know is a sign of wisdom. Sure. The awareness of how little we do or can know is a sign of wisdom. Yeah. Anurag says, what is your take on spiritual things like meditation, through which they say we can find truth? So I don't think, sure, someone might find some truths with regards to their own phenomenology through meditation, or even in other realms of truth. But meditation has been demonstrated to have great psychological benefits. Speaking of well-being, like I presented earlier, I mean, when we're talking about wellness of mind, I'm a longtime sufferer of clinical depression, and I'm on I'm on routine medicine to help me with that, and meditation is a part of my upkeep, because it's been demonstrated to be beneficial to people who suffer from clinical depression and other disorders of the mind. So meditation isn't simply a spiritual practice. It's a clinical practice. It's got physical benefits, because my physiology benefits from me being less clinically depressed, right? So, and meditation is a very strong tool to help get us to better states of being healthier and exercising and sleeping well, and all these things that can be benefits born out of meditation. So meditation was once painted with this brush of like Eastern medical woo woo, but that's kind of, people were too quick to do so. And I've heard my friend Richard Dawkins speak of meditation in such light, and I am quick to say, hang on there. That's that's going to get you. That's going to have you falling into the realm of pseudoscience if you deny the demonstrable nature of meditation. So that's my response to meditation. Anyone who's just getting in, I'm going through my Pangburnian Maxims. I just presented, these are going to be outlined in my first book, by the way, but I thought, as I got on here and started talking, I thought it might be cool to share them. So we just went through the fourth maxim. So to you, conviction of a thing, Conrad says, so to you, conviction of a thing is dogma. Nah, Conrad, you're not getting it, man. You got to look up dogmatism. You got to look up some of these definitions. And as a contemporary philosopher, I try to use contemporary common usage of these terms as best as I can. Joss Renfro says, any advice on coping with the idea of death? I understand it. I know it's coming, but I get anxiety thinking about it long. It doesn't affect my daily life, but I don't think, but it always in the back of my mind, I fear the lack of consciousness. Yeah, death is, that's kind of the ultimate fear, I think, for human beings. How did I get over this fear? Yeah, because I completely do lack a fear of death. I want to be alive, but I do lack a fear of death. So one thing to think about is I think, this is what I currently believe, I think that physics shows us that, what we are doing here, what's going on in this system is determined. So I think, I'm not talking about necessarily, well, I am talking about hard determinism. I think we are hard determined to carry out things outside of our control. I don't think we have free will, and I don't think free will has ever been demonstrated. So, and I don't know if this is going to help or take away from this death anxiety, but when I discovered that was a big thing for me to say, like, well, there's no sense worrying about this thing that's essentially inevitable. Sure, I will live on through my videos and through whatever AI generator generates a copy of me in the future, perhaps, and through my work, but I think that's my only chance at an afterlife. I know Hitchens used to talk about his children were his only chance, but I really think Hitchens' work is what is his time machine into the future. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the phenomenological, the experience of that. But, and I, and of course, there's this element of, like, because of our impending deaths, we, I think we should maximize our time that we have. And that doesn't mean going out and getting as much money in the bank as you can, or having as many kids as you can. Simply trying to find some clarity of mind and understanding what purposes you wish to serve and or wish to pursue, and pursue those purposes. And I think my maxims kind of set the groundwork for people to do that. But you might want to look at, what Epicurus called ataraxia, a state at which you will be able to achieve greatest levels of happiness. But for the most part, and here's one thing I'll say is that, and this is kind of more for people who are questioning whether life is preferential to death. We do have, and I guess this just relates to the topic of death in general, but we do have all the time in the world, it seems, to be dead. So we might as well, even if life is a struggle, we might as well struggle through this experience while we are able to experience. Even if life is rough. Luckily, we are in a technological age that we can provide medicines and therapies to damn near any kind of disorder one might be wrestling with or suffering from. So, we have all the time in the world to be dead. So let's not be too hasty about getting dead. Eternity after life is a long time to be dead. So this short little stint of 80 years, let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can make happen. Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's fundamentally find pleasure in it. John Erickson says, I'm pretty sure having patience for stupid ideas can be a serious waste of time. If someone says they don't believe in climate change or that there is a war in Ukraine, why spend time discussing that? Well, you don't have to spend time discussing that, but you can move to the methods at which you use to find out what is going on in reality and why you think those are more accurate than the ones they are using if they are denying such things. There's a way to shift the dialectic in order to still bear fruit. Giving up, that's always an option of giving up and perhaps coming back tomorrow. I'm just saying, don't throw this mind into the stupid pile. I think there's too much in there to be lost. There's too much opportunity there. Simply from a pleasure perspective as well. There's too much pleasure to be abstracted from a human mind. So, to throw minds to the wayside and say, I'm going to throw them aside because of their stupid ideas. Just be aware that many times, I'm sure in your own life, that someone afforded you what my Maxim is trying to afford them. So I think we have all been stupid on many things in our lives throughout our learning, and with teachers when we're in elementary school asking questions, and maybe we get convinced when we're young that the earth is flat. And I think it's important that people take their time with people like that and show them different criterias of truth and different epistemological structures so that they can perhaps find their way out of beliefs that might lead to delusions, right? So ultimately, I make a well-being argument as to why I think that's good to have patience, ultimate patience for stupid ideas. It comes from my moral maxim. No worries, Conrad. And it is more important to actually take action against, and there's more. Okay, I don't know what you're referring. Anurag says, do you by any means, who is Sadhguru? Yeah. He was also on Joe Rogan podcast. Yeah, I know I know of Sadhguru. I've been trying to set up a podcast with him for quite some time, but he's a busy guy. I would love to have a conversation. I think people like Sadhguru, they speak truly from their sentiments often, and they have some interesting wisdom, and I think they could do better more to be less kind of romantic with their sentiments, like kind of get more clearly to the point and be a little more clear to their to their audience with some of their ideas, but I think generally what he does inspires people, and I think inspiration is a big part of what we need to be doing as philosophers and thinkers. I'm going to finish with this, and then I'll get on to my next maxim. John says, also, I missed, when is your book coming out, and where will it be published? So I'm not announcing the publisher yet. There's a couple publishers that are interested in the book. I'm thinking of going with a bigger publisher just because it'll get better distribution. So the question of when, it's hard for me to predict because I'm quite slow in writing this book. I kind of keep telling people next year at some point. But then I keep kind of going back and refining things. But, we're getting close to having the first manuscript ready for, an editor and presentation. So I'm hoping next year. I'm really hoping so. And that'll be my first book. I am working on 2 other books at this moment as well. I find it hard to just work on one piece, but maybe I need to work harder and learn how to do that better. Iris Gaming says, determined by what circumstances? Surely not a disembodied mind. Well, I think the mind, exists. My current belief is that the mind and the brain are one and the same. I am a materialist, a physicalist. I think for good pragmatic usage in philosophy, we have created the philosophy of mind, and the philosophy of science is essentially handled brain as a physical object, and philosophy of mind has dealt with the mind born of the subject. And I think that this has served good pragmatic purposes in the realm of philosophy and in science. Like, there's been a bit of muddiness, I think, trying to find consciousness when we haven't defined such a thing, and we're not sure such a thing, exists. Like, the hard problem starts getting us closer, I think, through Chalmers as to what we're really looking at. And what we're really looking at, I think, is where does the physical representation of the experience live within all these processes? And I think that's a very good question. And what is perhaps the maybe the unique quantum mechanical nature of experience? There's something interesting like that. Like, where does experience live physically and materially in all of this? I think these are very, very good questions. But determined from just a simple cause and effect relationship of the computations that are going on, including in our brains, or the effect of the forces on particles. So I think that's what I mean by determined. And I am a hard determinist in that sense. I don't think there's any free will that exists, that I, interrupted the causal chain of events in the cosmos and decided to steer the causal chain of events in a certain direction, like I have some kind of power. No, I think I'm just perhaps a victim of this process as much as a mouse is, as much as an ant is, as much as a microbe is, as much as a rock is. So that's what I believe currently. But again, let's not forget my first maxim, that certainty is almost certainly unattainable. So anything I feel strongly convicted about with regards to my beliefs and what I know, it can all be overturned. I can be wrong about everything. That's all the first maxim is saying. I hope that saying it that way brings Conrad a little ease of access to what I'm trying to say. Okay, 2 maxims to go. I've given you guys 4 thus far. And for anyone who's watching this video after this live stream, and I like doing live streams. I don't like doing these like refined videos where I'm looking into the camera and like, now I don't want to make fun of Rationality Rules. I forget that guy's name. But anyways, he makes great educational content, but I want to see these guys open up a little more, get into live streams. Let's hear them think on the fly. Let's hear them present their ideas on the fly, interact with the chat. Like that's what I like more. And I know some people like the more refined videos and content, but I guess I want to present my genuine self and give people access to the way I think. That's kind of my goal. Maybe it's too romantic, but maybe I'm just a romantic guy. But here is my 5th maxim. What up, Jack? Let my 5th maxim keep me lighthearted. Refine and express your comicality, humor and play in the face of contention. So, lightheartedness is something where I think this maxim could really help a lot of people who struggle from, like, they'll go into a conversation with someone who they know they're going to have disagreements with. Let's say, it's an atheist with a theist. They're going into these conversations. And most of the time when I see these break down and they fall into shouting matches and a bad faith and unhelpfulness, part of this is there's not enough refinement in the sense of humor at play here, the comicality. There isn't a lighthearted nature brought to the table. I'll give you an example. So I went on and had on Jesse Lee Peterson, and I think he's a nice enough guy. He has a lot of ideas and that I think are quite stupid. But of course, because of my patience maxim, I have absolute ultimate patience for it. And I'm sure he thinks the same about me, but we're still able to have a fruitful dialectic. And one of the reasons is that we keep it lighthearted. Humor and play in the face of contention. So when we're faced with contention, we don't go to getting frustrated and allowing that frustration to boil over and allow us to fall into bad faith. The contention is turned into lightheartedness and humor, and part of that is because I think Jesse and myself have really focused on trying to refine our sense of humor, refine our lightheartedness with regards to our own ideas and commitments. Now, he's a dogmatic man. He will admit it about his, Christianity, about his belief in God, and about Scripture. And I'm not. But we both are able to have a fruitful dialectic because we don't allow this contention to push us into bad faith and unhelpfulness. We take that and we become lighthearted about it when we notice it. So there's a way to be humorous as opposed to falling into bad faith in these moments of contention when engaging in a dialectic. That's what I like to get. That's what and I think it's important enough to have it be a maxim. I really do think that it is at the heart of many people's failures in dialogue, failing to bring lightheartedness. Now, this doesn't only apply to the dialectic. This applies to life in general. This applies to parenting. Come at it lightheartedly. That isn't to mean don't care about things and act from a place of care. But, if your kid does something wrong, like your kid is, let's be lighthearted with the wrongdoings of your child. They often don't know any better. And if they are acting out, there's a lighthearted way to go about the discipline. That's not to say don't discipline your child, but there is a lighthearted way to go about it. It's like, you know what you did, my son. You know it. I know you know. Simple lightheartedness is going to go a long way in your life, in your interpersonal relationships, and with your children, and in, of course, by the first example, in a dialectic. Good morning again, Jack. Anurag. Make sure you guys drop a like if you get in here. I'm planning on staying around for a while, so hang out with me. Jordan Peterson says there are no true atheists and cites Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment to say no one can truly be rational in their mode of behavior or thought. What is your say on this? Yeah, Jordan's just wrong about this, like many ideas Jordan has. And again, that's coming from me, and feel free to disagree with me. But yeah, Jordan is just wrong. Of course, we have many atheists. I've never had a belief in God ever since I was a little child and came across the idea. I thought it was nonsensical that people thought that, what human authors wrote about being divinely inspired and saying that God is speaking through them. It's like, yeah, of course it's true, because it says so in the Bible. Yeah, but you understand that this was born of human authors who were claiming this stuff. So like, Jordan's just dead wrong about that. He's dead wrong about his, his COVID vaccine rhetoric that, Justin Trudeau's promoting, getting vaccinated on Twitter and getting a booster. And Jordan's like, over my dead body. Like, this is like, we're going through a pandemic. It's promoting. I understand if you're opposed to getting a vaccine yourself, but Jordan understands damn well that vaccinations help the spread of viruses to some degree. I know he knows that, at least, and he got vaccinated himself, and perhaps it was because he didn't want to lose millions of dollars on his tour. And I love Jordan. I consider Jordan a friend, and I think he he's got some good ideas, but him and I disagree on quite a bit. He seems to be trying to go through life mitigating suffering, like that's the best we can do, is like just survive and mitigate the suffering that's coming at us. And bullshit. You can go out there and actively maximize well-being for yourself and those around you. That's a motivation. Trying to go out there into the world and being afraid of the shit that might happen to you and mitigating that is bullshit. We can do way better than that. So yeah, I know what he said to Sam and to Matt Dillahunty regarding Crime and Punishment. You'll be like Rakonikoff or whatever that guy's name is in Crime and Punishment, around killing people or whatever. Yeah, that's just a crock of shit. There's no evidence of that. That's just a baseless assertion that has not been demonstrated. So he really should stop saying that if he wants to be like, if he wants to be, not saying fallacious shit. So that's my opinion on Jordan's take there. Diversity is not Martha Vineyard's strength. What up, F? We were all stupid babies at one point. Hell yeah. And, we all have enough stupidity to fill all the football fields in the world, even, by the time we're ready to die at an old age. But, I think it feels good for me to at least acquire some knowledge and apply it in a way that will help me serve my purposes before I die. It feels good. And I think that's fundamentally why we dabble in this, this concept grouping of epistemology and attempting to know things. What does lynch mean? Uh, lynch. Oh, like you mean like lynching someone? Yeah, it's like a hanging. Um, okay, now time for the sixth and final maxim. And don't be confused, these are not on stone tablets. The first maxim states that certainty is almost certainly unattainable. So all of these maxims one day may be erased by myself and replaced with something better. What does better mean? Better meaning things that I think will better serve the purposes I wish to pursue. Um, here we go. Now, this one is a nod and a exclamation of the original Pangburn motto for my company. And this, okay, let my sixth maxim make me inspired. Let art and science inspire. Realizing your artistic and scientific inspirations will energize your purposes. Now, for the past couple of years, I've been administering philosophical coaching. So I've, at this point, I've had, I don't know exactly how many clients, but I've done almost 200 sessions of philosophical coaching. And if you guys want to meet some of the coaching clients, join us on Discord. I'm going to give you guys a Discord link here. Invite. Yeah, so if you want to get to know me a little better and the kind of the core of the Pangburn community, join us on Discord. I also want to remind you guys that at 3:30 today, in 2 hours, Mace Starwalk will be live on Call-In, which is the new social podcasting app where we have a live show every day. He will be taking the affirmative position that UBI is immoral. Convince me otherwise. That will be Mace's position today. Universal basic income is immoral. That's what Mace is claiming. So I hope you do show up and join us for that. Call-In is a really easy to use app. All you need is your phone and internet connection, and you can call in and get into the conversations. We have a very strict good faith helpfulness policy in our discussions that is heavily policed. So there's not going to be yelling matches. Things get passionate sometimes, but there's not going to be these constant yelling matches and swearing and attacking each other. It's against the rules and it will be policed. Anyways, about my philosophical coaching practice, part of what I do is helping people realize their pleasure hierarchies. And going through these pleasure hierarchies, we start identifying the artistic and scientific inspirations in their life, or even potential inspirations. Something I've found is a lot of people who come to my philosophical coaching practice are lacking inspiration in their life. And sometimes it's just a matter of they haven't mapped it out. They haven't really thought about it in a way that's clear to them. So I try to just be that person that helps them get there. So we make this beautiful, artistically depicted by, the subject, the person engaging in the practice, of their pleasure hierarchy. And they start really discovering their inspirations through this, their scientific and artistic inspirations. What do I mean by scientific inspirations? I mean like going out and investigating what is going on in reality with regards to the objects in reality. So, going hiking out in the woods, flipping over rocks, looking at the bugs. You know who I really think of when I think of scientific inspiration? The crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin. That guy was, you could even see him talking about the wild crocs, and he gets in massive, like the way you could watch that guy and you want to go out and wrestle a crocodile. That's what I'm talking about. It makes me want to cry when I think about levels of scientific inspiration like that. And then you think of artistic inspiration, creating your own stuff, creating art, things that the conceptualizer yourself are going to conceptualize as art. whether it be woodworking, whether it be the art of stick handling in hockey, the art of trimming the hedges, the art of painting, music, this stuff, being inspired in that sense. I think you need a balance of these two things in order to feel like you're living an inspired life. And so far, my research has been very compelling and has kind of proven true, I think, my initial predictions about how we better inspire the individual. I think often we get people who are very inspired artistically, but not so inspired scientifically. And there's kind of a void. They're like, yeah, I mean, it's like I'm in the art scene. I'm a someone who's an actor, and they paint a lot, and everything they do is art related. But then, that thing they tend to likely be missing, based on my experience so far, is getting out there and instead of watching another chick flick or another drama series or another sci-fi's got a little scientific inspiration, but they're going to start watching documentaries about some occurrences, things that actually did happen in reality, some documentaries about the dolphins, the other animals that dwell on this planet, the crocodile hunter. They need Steve Irwin in their life. And man, does he ever need to be on a dollar bill somewhere. We always need to be reminded of Steve Irwin. And I had a conversation with his wife one time because I wanted to bring her on the podcast to talk about Steve, because he's a huge inspiration to me. And she doesn't do a ton of that because she still finds it so painful to talk about Steve, and and I see, just as an aside, I see what his kids are doing and following in his footsteps obviously his kids have been inspired by dad and what he is, what he did accomplish. And I can't say enough about people like that, human beings that come onto this planet and leave a legacy of inspiration for children and people to use to serve their purposes. I just think that's brilliant. So yeah, the final maxim, final for now, the sixth maxim: let my sixth maxim make me inspired. Let art and science inspire. Realizing your artistic and scientific inspirations will energize your purposes. Perhaps I will leave you guys with that today. I will get this published and have the Pangburn folks share it around. But those are my 6 maxims. Let me know what you think about them in the comment section below. Make sure you identify which maxim you're referencing, and please try to reference them accurately as I have read them and copied and pasted them here today. Maybe I will leave a comment down below that outlines the maxims so that everyone can take a look at them. But thank you so much for those of you who stopped by midday today. I know it's not a great day to be, or a great time to be streaming, but I just felt inclined to stream. I felt like I wanted to stream today, and perhaps I will do a lot more. Please join us on Call-In, you guys. We have daily discussions there with all different kinds of topics, different hosts. We have Christians hosting, we have atheists hosting. We're going to have a Muslim hosting soon, hopefully. And people from all different kinds of worldviews coming together, disagreeing in good faith, and engaging in the war of ideas. The first Pangburn comic book, the Pangburn Universe comic book, is still in the works. There's about 40 freaking pages, new pages being drawn right now. It's turned into this monster when I thought it was going to be a molehill. But yeah, there you have it. The first 6 Pangburnian Maxims, I guess I'm calling them. Enjoy them, debate them, critique them, and please do so in good faith and in a helpful manner. Thank you so much. And as always, let art and science inspire.